Hello everyone, and welcome back to another Monster Hunter World Iceborne livestream. Oh man, it's Saturday night, and I don't really know what I want to do in this game right now. We fought Arch-Temper Namielle. She was a big letdown, actually, Arch-Temper Namielle was, in my opinion. She's just a bullet sponge. She takes more damage, she deals more damage. So there's Arch-Temper Namielle. We're kind of done with Quoth Teroth. I played her a lot on every console. So we're talking about PC, PlayStation, Xbox. You know, you kind of go after her. You don't have to even have her weapons. You don't have to. You can go after her KR weapons if you want. So that's kind of fun. And then after that, I don't really know what there is left to do in this game. I'm kind of feeling like I'm done. Yeah, I'm kind of feeling like I'm done with Monster Hunter. There's nothing left for me to do anymore. And I don't know when Elytron will come out. When he comes out, of course, I'll be here to play Elytron as soon as possible. And he'll be, I'm sure, very exciting, kind of like the Behemoth. But he's been delayed. He's been delayed. And we already had a big window of time to wait for him to come, probably at like the end of May. So we were already basically done. So what we have left to look forward to are the other Arch-Tempereds, and then a delayed Elytron, which will probably come out in June if I had to guess. How's it going, Jaquez? So I don't really have a lot to do right now. I can host these chat time streams where we talk and I chill out with you guys. I've considered doing other games. I've considered doing entirely different content, maybe like some how to open like a retirement account content, all kinds of stuff. I don't know. But right now, I feel like I'm done playing Monster Hunter. I feel like we've done it all. There's nothing new left until Elytron comes out, and that's probably going to be like a month from now. So, you know what? We do have to do the weapon popularity vid, and I'll probably get that out soon enough. But yeah, it's weird. It feels like we're at the end of the game a little bit. Play another game? That's what I'm thinking, Con. That is what I'm thinking. I think it's about time to pick up a new game. I kind of looked in the market. There's not a lot of new games. Actually, here, let me go look. Games launching soon. New and upcoming games from GameStop. Let's see what we got. Sword Art Online. Oh, look at this. At the end of May, we get Minecraft Dungeons. I probably will play that. A big Minecraft fan, obviously. Hopefully it's a difficult game, though. Let's see. BioShock the Collection. They keep doing stuff like that. Elder Scrolls Online. Yeah, see, I just don't see anything. I'm looking. Hunting Simulator. Ghost of Tsushima. Yeah, weird. I don't really see anything to play. Here, there's Cyberpunk coming out much later. So there's Elden Ring. Whoa. Was Elden Ring delayed? Hold on. Elden Ring delayed. Okay, so the game's not coming out in June. So maybe it'll come out in December or November or something like that. So Elden Ring's not going to be here either. Do a face reveal. TCC, how do I become rich? Cheese, I'm going to do a whole podcast on it. How's it going, Zachariah? He says, have you considered getting into Monster Hunter GU? Like diving into meta builds, true endgame, etc.? Nah, I just haven't had the urge to. The mechanics for the game and the quality of life in the game is so old. I can't bring myself to it, man. Hey, TGC, got my first set of cards from you today. Oh, very cool, man. And I just shipped more out to you as well. You should play Sekiro. We could play Sekiro. Sekiro's single player. It's the only problem I have with that. Assassin's Creed. Try Devil May Cry. Resident Evil. Replay Sekiro, you nerd. Doom, The Last Part of Us. DMC5 is a blast. Dark Souls 3. Finish Sekiro. Fortnite. Sekiro or Dark Souls 3. Play Burnout Paradise Rainbow Six. Yeah, so none of those really sound super fascinating to me. I like games like Monster Hunter where you can really invest in the game and just get totally absorbed by it and spend all your time, learning really deep and complicated mechanics. But it looks like we're just kind of out of things to work on, is how it feels. Like, I'm not too concerned about the Kiara weapons. Okay, they'll probably be good in some rare circumstances. I'm not too concerned about the Arch-Tempered Namiel armor set. In fact, it was kind of poo-poo anyways. There'll probably be some new armor sets that are okay from the next sets of Arch-Tempered monsters. And then most likely what'll happen is a Latron will come out. He'll probably have a brand new set bonus skill we've never seen before. Maybe he'll have new weapons. And he'll be real tough and he'll be real satisfying. That's what I think will happen. But in the meantime, I just don't have a lot to do. So I'm going to join whatever these guys post. I'm going to join it. Okay, I'll wait for somebody to post. Dauntless! Let's see, what else you guys are saying? Want to join Temp Nergy Fight? It looks like it filled up. Saul Cruz says play Gears Tactics. When does Gears Tactic come out? The only problem I have with that game is it's for Xbox only. Oh, it actually... Wait. It released? Gears released? What? Wait a second. Hold on. I didn't know it came out. Whoa! He said you can honestly do a plethora of things in Dark Souls or Bloodborne. You could do specific runs with fans, and the same in Bloodborne. That's true. I'm a big fan of the From Software games. Big fan. How do I look up new games? You'd think they would have it listed right in the front. Let's go to top new games. It's out for PC. It's not even available on the Xbox. What the... Alright. Saul Cruz says it's out for PC. Place Cheese Simulator. You should try Ark. My boy just gave $10. Woo! Thank you very much, Zachariah the Messiah. We still need to play together, man. Play Cheese Simulator. Oh, I already read that one. Hey man, just started 2 weeks ago. Got any tips for early master rank? Early master rank, speed through it as fast as you can because nothing you earn in master rank is really that good. As soon as you can, finish it and then go into the guiding lands. You'll need to level up a few areas in the guiding lands and get the materials from there. As soon as you can, try to fight. You'll want to fight Raging Brachydios in order to pick up his armor and weapons, and this will make you real powerful. So right after the story's done, do whatever you have to do to go fight him. How's it going, Victor? Have I heard of the new Assassin's Creed? I have not. You know, I've never played any of the Assassin's Creed. I mean, I played one of them briefly. Because it was free, and I quit because I wasn't having a good time. Help this guy with the Fury remains. Best tip for starting out in Monster Hunter World, make friends. That's right. How's it going, Tristan? He says, I watch all your Monster Hunter vids. Your voice is real soothing. Thank you very much, man. Let's grab our indestructible sticky heavy bowgun build. This build is too good. Alright, I gotta sneeze. Play calculator. Okay, I'm back. Game Economist, how do I fight Tempered Rajang? By clenching them butt cheeks. Do you talk on the mic? Whenever we get a chance to play, I actually have an interesting topic for both you and your fans and curious what you'll think. Do you mean like, do I put on a headset and talk on a mic? I almost never do that. I have this microphone where you guys can all hear me talking. What is it about Elden Ring that excites you? Oh, I'm anticipating Elden Ring being like Dark Souls, but for 2020. And if that's the case, it will probably become my main game. There's a very good chance it becomes my main game. Game Economist, I hope... What? 6UO? Play Fireboy Water Girl with Quip on cool math games? Oh, heck yeah. Cool math games. I can't wait. R. Proctor says, come on, the defense of Celiana was a blast. Cannons machining a giant harpoon. That was awesome. Yeah, you know, they didn't really offer anything like that afterwards. They really ought to have. collect all these real fast. But yeah, it kind of feels like we're done with this game. There's nothing else to do. We can make our hunter look better, or we could make our build slightly more damaging, but what's the point of having a more damage? I mean, maybe like I could get into speedrunning. I've thought about that, but I've been playing for like 4,000 hours. I just don't think I would enjoy it. Whoa! Da-dun!
Been meaning to give you this for a while.
Woo! Thank you so much, JV.
Times and the many more to come. Can you have chat vote a weapon?
Alright guys, what weapon would you guys like me to play as on behalf of JV? You guys vote, and then we'll pick the one that gets most voted on. Thanks so much, JV. Action says, hey Economist, just got into the game. Before getting into Master Rank, should I bother farming the higher tier bosses or just go straight into it? I would just get right into it. Just try to get all the way to the end of the Master Rank story, because the sooner you finish the Master Rank story, the sooner you can go fight Raging Brachydios and immediately become like top tier powerful. So if you're wanting to go fast, you'll want to finish the story as soon as possible. Try to have a friend who will help you. Yes. Play Terraria 1.4 when it comes out in 13 days. What do you play Terraria on? God Terror Boy, what console or what platform? Do you play it on PC? PC? Or do you play it on Xbox? Saw Cruz says solo the extreme behemoth. Hammer, fishing rod, sword and shield, switch axe. Here, you guys tell me what you guys conclude on. I'm gonna start running toward Rajang to help out. Doo-ba-doo-ba-doo. Oh my god, this thick snow. I don't know why I'm running over here when I could have just teleported over. Oh my lord.
Make a purple sharpness capture net build.
Purple sharpness capture net. Got it. It's gonna be OP, man. We'll use the latest capture net meta build. I got my calculator out right now. Testing out cold weapons for fun. Got a pair of dual blades. Alright, we're almost here. Let's get this guy. Oh, man, I got like a headache. I wonder if I should take a painkiller ahead of the live stream. Probably just that brain tumor, man. Just brain tumoring about. Oh my god, I can't grab him. Okay, I guess we'll soften him. What is the difference between Stygian Zinogre Heavy Bowgun and Zinogre Heavy Bowgun? Stygian doesn't do as much damage for the spread ammo. How good is Kiar Axe Paralysis? It's good if you think it's good. Don't forget that Capture Master skill. Esophageal Switch Axe with the Stamina Drain file. Alright, so what weapon did you guys conclude we should use, by the way? We'll shoot him in the booty. There we go. Oops, looks like we're gonna wake him up. Woo!
You thought it was a donation, but it was me, DL.
DL! Owes me Dio. Oh my god, this guy's trying to blow me up. We concluded hammer. Sounds good. Let's do the hammer then. It's not even a real fight. This is too easy. Oh my god, this guy's a little beta male. He's too good with the hammer. Get some sword and shield. Hammer big time easy mode? I could play bad on it on accident. Which is the best weapon to use against Temper Gigante? Whatever weapon you want. Oh man, he's jumping way over there. Really? He's just getting knocked over again? Are you excited about Electron being added to Monster Hunter? I am, but I know that I'm going to have to wait like 2 months for him, or maybe a month. And I'm really tired of playing this game and waiting like a whole month for one little piece of content that really does not keep me full, you know what I mean? We waited so long for Kulf Taroth that we were, you know, we were so done playing every other aspect of this game by then. And that, I mean, I got like 3 characters that are actually fairly decent. That this Xbox character is really good. It's got everything. But then I also have like my other characters too, right? The PlayStation character, and I've got my PC character. Don't go. Ah, he's gone. So it's kind of like, I don't know, man. I just feel like this game doesn't have anything left to offer me at this point. We've done it. We've played the game like all the way to the end. There's just not a lot left to do. I woke up today and I'm like, what am I gonna do on Monster Hunter? And I'm like, the same thing I've been doing for 4,000 hours, man. Oh, there he goes. Get him, boys! Oh, I should have had my ammo reloaded. But yeah, I don't think this game has a lot left to offer until Electron comes out, and I don't know if I don't know if I want to just play the same content over and over again for like 2 months while we wait. Woo! Just stand here for a minute. Alright. Dung pod him out of the area to make that fight easier. Well, you can alternatively just stand on the side of the... You know what I mean? You just stand on the side. It's not a big deal. Don't follow him out on the ice. You're gonna have a bad time. The sticky ammo made this fight and the whole game like stupidly easy. Oh no. Let's get some sleep going. My cat's meowing. Wow, he's still not going to sleep. That's why I was like, gotta make these streams worth it or you'll stop streaming, lol. Thanks, JV. Don't be shy, come over to the card stream. I am immensely enjoying the card stream. The card stream has so much flavor. It is very good. But that's because it's like in a totally it's a totally different category from gaming. Like this is gaming, that's more like collecting in the real world. You know what I mean? So it's like a totally different hobby. Can't really compare them. David says, you could try to solo Extreme Behemoth. A lot of people wanted that, and that could be a goal. I sold him in high rank while I was waiting for Iceborne. Yeah, I definitely could work on that. I don't know if the motivation for that is really there. John Tyder says, darn guys, we also had our chance to make him play Lance. Sticky Heavy Bowgun made T3 Investigation grinding somewhat bearable. Hey, can I be mod? Electron Lance does 1,000 damage per poke, new buff. When you get the Arshan layered armor and the rocket hammer layered weapon, so you can play as a spaceman. Oh, that's a very good point. I didn't think of that. That's a good fashion combination. Terrorboy says, about the Terraria question, I played on PC and I recommend playing it on the PC. Okay. I actually did play it on the PC the first time. Actually, you're making me wonder if I already own it, God Terrorboy. I think I already own it on the PC. Pretty sure I own it from back when my wife and I first started dating. We played Terraria together. Supernova, you're nice. Have I played Ark? You know, a lot of people keep asking me that, but no, I have not played Ark, and my interest in Ark isn't very high. Love all the Klazuka builds. Have had a blast playing it. Oh, thanks, man. Yeah, it was really fun. Elatrian Lance OP. You could help people out in the SOS flare. That's true. I could just do that for all the end of time. That is true. Just thinking ahead of the future. God Terrorboy says, just play Terraria with me. I know, right? We'll start a new Terraria map. Mary has returned. Could try out some custom quests people modded in on PC. Could try out some custom quests people modded in on PC. Kim says, on a scale of 1 to 100, how beautiful is your wife? She's very beautiful. She's tall, and she's thin, and she has a really good smile. Ethan says, play Terraria is a good game. Oof, that was easy. Yeah, I got a really pretty wife. I don't know how I did it. I don't know how I did it. I say restart the vote for right before you head out. Well, people decided hammer, right? Is that what you guys said? Hammer? Hey, mister, is that Dauntless? That's right. Sword, great sword, bow, lance, horns, longsword, hammer. What's this? We'll just use this. Why not? You can sit in camp while I solo Eye of Tuhulu. Tall, skinny, and beautiful smile. I like your smile, kid. Hammer time. That's right, hammer time. The Eternal Gold Rush. Alright, we'll join these guys. Sweet. Can you... Wait, you can register loadouts? That's right. In this game, you're allowed to save your builds. Holy heck, man. I'll just eat Chef's Choice. No more hammer, play Charger Blade. Let's go ahead and ready up. Dude, it is hot in here. Let me turn my AC on. I'll be right back. What are you up to? Oh, it's 74 in here. Man. Dude. Holy heck, man. It was hot in here. I didn't realize how hot it got in my home. Summertime's here, everyone. Alright. Woo! Let's grab the Rocksteady Mantle starting. Oh, we'll do the Temporal Mantle. They're already started. Hey, mister, when does Safitiva come back? I played Terraria for longer than 2 minutes. I'm a pro. How are you? Changing loadouts to save changes everything. Saving loadouts. Oh, she's down here. Ah, dude, I definitely have a headache too. Man, I should go take a painkiller while I'm ahead. Let me grab this Gajalaka material. It's very important. What would you say are the major shortcomings of Iceborne? Sure, you know, as somebody who's played it a lot, it's very easy for me to criticize the game because you grow sensitive to all of the small things that don't feel quite right. But the main thing is they took way too long putting out actual difficult content. Kulf Taroth is the most difficult fight in the game. Like, she's actually challenging. And they took a very long time releasing her. And she's still not really as difficult as Extreme Behemoth was for the base game. So if you remember high rank, Extreme Behemoth is more difficult than Kulf Taroth is right now in Iceborne. So we're many months out from when it launched in September, and still no difficult fights, which actually makes almost no sense because this is supposed to be master rank, right? So this is supposed to be like the tough stuff for the veterans, but instead Iceborne was more like baby stuff for babies. I don't really know why they decided that, but it was a really poor choice. They should have started the whole thing off with all of the monsters being much more difficult than we were used to. But maybe they were worried that if they did that, they wouldn't be able to get people to play the game. Oh, look at that. We got a mount. So definitely my biggest complaint with Iceborne is just how long it took for them to release actual difficult fights. Probably the next thing I would complain is that the Clutch Claw actually detracts from many weapons. Not all of them, but many of them. So I ended up not liking the Clutch Claw at all. I think the Clutch Claw was kind of like a spectacular failure. Because they advertised it so heavily, like it was the second coming of Christ, but it actually is one of the things that detracts from the fun of the game. I missed the base game where you didn't have to worry about the claw. You just sort of played the game and you focused on the weapon that you chose. Alright, I think I'm going to go grab some painkiller before this headache gets out of control. Freaking headaches, man. I'll be right back. Okay, I'm back. Whew. Here we go. Yeah, man, that headache started coming in. It's strong. It kind of takes over. Joseph says, tips for a gun lance noobs? I would use long shelling gun lance. Long shelling 6 is currently the meta for long shelling. Be sure to bring slinger capacity. Stick your wyvern blast in an easy to reach monster part, and then just shoot that part over and over again with charged shelling. The lag on the claw is pretty terrible. Do insect glaive healer build, says Mr. Clean. What? Insect glaive healer? I don't think that's possible, man. Did anyone see the new upgrade for the Azure Dragon Dance longsword? What? Go ahead and have my meat platter. Man, I've been having a lot of headaches lately. Probably just the tumor. God, man. Probably just the brain tumor from playing too many games. It's Little Joker! Hoof Floor Gang here, Lightbreaker Gun Lance. You know, I have other complaints about the game, but definitely the difficulty is a huge one. Guiding Lands was easy and boring. So boring. Guiding Lands was a terrible farm. There's just nothing to do after you're done with Guiding Lands and reaching level 100. And then they slowly started releasing, like, you know, they released Rajang, Raging Brachydios, Furious Rajang, Stygian Zenogre. Safajiva is so forgettable. He is a really not that fun of a fight. And none of them are really that difficult. Sophajiva actually is difficult, by the way. He's a difficult fight, but it doesn't matter because you don't have to win in order to get all of his rewards. So the reward system is just, oh, you want the most powerful weapon in the game? Here you go. You know what I mean? It's like you don't even barely have to try to get the most powerful weapons. You just have them. It's like, all right, well, I'm super OP now. The Beast Buster? Whose decision was that? They're like, you know what the light bowgun and the heavy bowgun need? You know what the heavy bowgun class needs? An even better sticky ammo build. Like, what? Why? It's so strong already. Remember, you would normally use Magna Gametis, and it was so strong that it was boring. And they're like, let's do that, but more powerful. Sticky ammo needs a buff. Who decided that? You've still got normal ammo. Sucks. Normal ammo cannot hold a light to sticky ammo. I mean, it can. But most people don't use it. So they don't buff normal ammo. What do? They buff sticky ammo. The thing that's making normal ammo seem stupid. Silly. I don't understand. The whole, the lance didn't receive any love. It already wasn't that powerful in the base game, but then Master Rank comes around and it feels like they didn't even touch the lance. You got Counterclaw, man. The Hunting Horn saw some really great improvements, but I still find it annoying to use now. It's still annoying. Like, after using all of the weapons, having to go back and use the self-improvement buff, it's just a chore. Hunting Horn, it's just a chore. I wish they would get rid of the self-improvement buff, and they gotta get rid of the attack up large buff. And they could just buff the Hunting Horn to do more damage. But the problem with the attack up large buff is it's so much more meta than any other buff that it makes all the other buffs irrelevant. And they just gotta get rid of that. It's so silly. Like, when you're looking at the horns, the very first thing you look for is, does it have attack up large? It's just silly. So that's a pretty big one. What else? I like the changes they made to Sword and Shield. I mean, all the other weapons feel pretty solid in Iceborne. I thought a lot of the weapon changes were really good. Yeah, I thought a lot of the weapon changes were really good. Thousand Dragon on the bow, so cool. EI Slash, EI Spirit Slash on the longsword. The spinning clutch claw move on the hammer, a lot of it's great. They just still don't seem to take care of the Hunting Horn or the Lance. They stay at the bottom of the popularity chart, bottom of the speedrun tier list, and it never changes. I don't know why. I don't know why, actually. Some games, you get some games, they get like balance changes at least once a month. This game, like, months will pass by and nothing will happen. And it's like, dude, you've got the same data I do, right? Presumably. You know, the developers probably have better data than me. Nice job. What the hell? The combo stopped. Brrr, he's so mad. Call me crazy, but they could just add more weapons, right? That would be fun. I know, right? Like, here's another thing, they've never done this, and I guess they didn't do it in the previous games, but they could have weapons in the same class that have, like, varied range. So, for example, you could have one hammer that has more reach than another hammer, and this would add a whole extra layer of complexity to the weapon that they've completely ignored. So you could have one hammer that is simply longer than another hammer, but maybe it deals less damage per hit. And then you could have one hammer that's really short, but deals a massive amount of damage per hit. And this variation to the weapons would add so much complexity to them, and allow you to have so much more to mess around with, right? But they don't have that in the game. Or they could even have different attack speeds, right? So, like, you could have a hammer with, like, the slowest attack speed of all the hammers, but it could be really high damage. You know what I mean? You just have to manage to land it. Oops. But they don't do that stuff, and I don't know why. Basically, the weapons are all identical. They really just come down to, hey, what did my calculator say which one of these does the most damage? And that's it. And it's kind of sad, actually. The game doesn't have as much variety as you think it does. It only looks like it does. And if you guys ever reach my point of playtime and experience, where you go, I guess having the very best weapon doesn't really matter that much except for speed runs, you will realize there's not a lot in the game to do. Like, oh man, I'm gonna get every meta cold weapon. Why? Why? You can run the whole game with, you know, one weapon from your weapon class that does okay. And they don't even feel different. It's literally about just getting a different number to show up when you smack the monster, right? But again, unless you're speedrunning it, and the vast majority of people are not speedrunning. There are speedrunners out there. I love them. They figure everything about the game. That's all the secret mechanics. They're terrific. They're amazing. But I'm saying the vast majority of people play this game to just have a nice time, maybe like multiplayer with friends, or just play through it to have a, you know, to have the experience of having played through Monster Hunter. And so oh man, the variety for these weapons is much lower than you realize. And of course, if you played other games, you would know this too. What's funny is that I played Monster Hunter GU, and they had like different styles and different special attacks for the weapon classes, and they don't even have that in this game. This game doesn't even have that. Got this game from like 50 years ago, and it's got it. Oops, looks like we got the old. Let's run over here. You know, like aerial style. Remember, so you got like aerial style in Monster Hunter GU, and that was an option for all the weapons. And it's like, that's pretty cool. But they don't have that for Monster Hunter World, and I don't know, maybe some people prefer it that way, but I don't think I do, actually. What are you talking about not adding weapons? This game went literally progressing every single game. I play the game just to hunt the monsters. My favorite aspect of the game. Oh, for sure, yeah. And I'm not. I'm not bashing on the game or anything like that. Iceborne actually offers a lot of replayability, a ton of replayability, really, and a lot of you know, content. But I'm just saying, there's not a lot left for me to do personally. Maybe you guys still have a lot left to do in the game. I'm pretty close to done with the game. There's not a lot left to do in the game. And I see somebody was asking me, like, what could they have done differently with Iceborne, or what didn't you like? And because I played it so thoroughly, I kind of see all the ways it could have been different. You know what I mean? By the way, you know, the slow loading times on the game were a big disappointment, I think. I know PC players don't deal with that, and I do play on PC myself, but to this day, like Xbox and people say, oh, why don't you just buy a, you know what I mean, for your PlayStation? But that's silly, man. Who buys that for their, who who buys an expansion thinking they're going to have to also upgrade their PlayStation 4? It's so silly. So yeah, the load times were definitely a disappointment, and I don't know how you could fix something like that. It's probably one of those technical challenges that it's just a matter of whether you've got somebody who can figure it out and the time to figure it out. Yeah, the load times are unbearable. Lance was much better in GU because of styles and hunting arts. The different hunter arts and styles in GU were kind of hated by the veterans, so that's probably why Capcom dropped it. Sure, okay. Among those weapons, in 2004, I swung the greatsword with my right joystick. Hey, mister. How's it going, the thing? The game is pretty fun in the beginning. Yeah, for sure. Iceborne is very fun in the beginning. I'm tired of how the T3 rewards are the same Elder Dragon over and over and over again. Mech. Same here. I have all decorations, finished all optionals, soloed all the monsters, and I have every Safajiva and cold weapon that are worth getting. Right, there's just... we should have had a Latreon a while ago, actually. I feel like they must be behind schedule or something. Oh, he's mad, actually. Ouch. Surprised he didn't get me sooner. They should do annual events where we can take a boat to the villages and pass Monster Hunter games. You know, I feel like they spend an awful lot of time on, like, content that we didn't really need. You know, the festivals are kind of fun. They're like, yes, the festivals, yay, it's the holidays, right? But think about how many man hours, oh man, think about how many man hours went into making these festivals, and how we lack so much other content in the game. We lack so many difficult fights, and we lack diverse fights, in my opinion. You know, you've got like Tigrex, Nargacuga, Barriath. They're all basically, they're very similar. You know, you can disagree with me on that if you want to. You'd be like, no, they're actually very distinct. To me, they're kind of similar. But also, not just that, they're just monsters we had in previous games. They're actually just monsters they ported over. They're not even a new designed monster. Same with Kolbsroth, you know, she's straight out of high rank. Elatrion's coming from the older game, so I would love to fight something really new. And I don't know why they're so resistant to the idea of something new, but probably it has to do with the fact that they would have to design it. You know, they would have to design something new. But all this is what we've seen before. It's almost like you fought Bowser in Mario 64. Now fight him again in Mario GameCube. You know what I mean? That's exactly what it's like. And it's like, that sort of works, but I like new things too. You know? I would love to have some new stuff. Shara Shafalda was probably the newest feeling monster in the game, and he was a rework of Zenijima. So lots and lots and lots of reusing of resources in the game development. Very, very, very slow release of content. Took forever. I don't know if you guys remember this. Remember when they announced Iceborne? Everyone was like, holy shit, that's 6 months from now. Everyone was expecting Iceborne to be announced to be launched like 2 months later. You know what I mean? So that was most people's expectations. But no, they were like, yeah, it's going to be 6 months from now. So we grinded for like 6 months, and it finally comes out. And the end game is the Guiding Lands. It's like, okay. They launch it, and there's nothing in Iceborne that's more difficult than the base game. It's kind of shocking. And all the way up to Kolv Extreme Behemoth has been the most difficult monster, and he's from the base game. Whoa, what the heck? Did you hear how many times he flipped? Run up here. Don't do it. Oh man, that healing's so important. You should see that healing. Woo. Nice. What I don't like is how Monster Hunter GU has like 93 monsters, and Monster Hunter World Iceborne at the moment is a little over 60, I think. Yeah, well, I mean, yeah. It's not just the number of monsters in the game, it's also the number of satisfying monsters in the game, you know what I mean? Let's get over here. Hey, TGC, I think you definitely need a break from Monster Hunter. I know I do sometimes, and well, I mean, yeah, for sure. It's not... I could keep playing if I really wanted to. It's a matter of, I don't really think there's anything left for me to do in the game. That's a different issue. So, I get on tonight, and I don't have anything to do. You know what I mean? I feel like I'm pretty much done. I need a Latreon to come out so that I have something to do. Mr. Clean says, due of coronavirus existed all company events are... Oh, right. So, yeah, Latreon got delayed. She is the best mod, right? What? And he's gone. Good job, everyone. Let's go ahead and grab this. Raging Bracky Daddy. Raging Bracky Daddy. Jump in the air here. Hey! You cut that out! Bruh! Challenge yourself. Make builds using only the alpha sets. Yeah, I've thought about that. Basically, what you guys are talking about is when you reach a point in a game where the game doesn't offer you any more challenges. So you just kind of make up your own challenges. I've never really enjoyed doing that. You know, people were talking about do Nuzlocke on Pokemon. It's tempting. It certainly is tempting, actually. I think Pokemon, something like that would be more fun. But yeah, creating like fake difficulty, not fake, but like just making up difficulty for myself. It's a weird thing. It's like if you're a basketball player and they said, okay, you've been playing for a long time. Why don't we make it more fun by tying one of your arms up? And it's just like, I guess. Mr. Clean says, are you even still play Minecraft? We could do a Minecraft stream. I don't know if people would watch it. Jennifer says, where I live, the two major cities that I live in between are hit spots for the virus. That sucks, Jennifer. Arama says, yo, TGC, do you think that you have over 10,000 hours combined between all platforms? No, it's probably closer to like 4,200, roughly. That's what I think it would be, about 4,200. Third World Gaming says, you're just burnt out. You need to diversify with games. Okay, so there's a difference between, in my opinion, there's a difference between being burnt out and having nothing to do. I have nothing to progress on in this game. Like I said, I have the cool weapons. I've got the Raging Bracky armor set. I got all the Raging Bracky weapons. I'm not really too concerned about unlocking every single decoration. That's because back in the base game, I learned it took like 2,500 hours to unlock all the decorations over there. So like I could be a completionist and get all the, you know what I mean? But I've never been a completionist. It's not my personality. Despite the fact that I play games for a very long time, there's just nothing left in the game. I've done it all. I've done it all. I can help you guys. And again, we're waiting for a Latreon. And the funny thing is, with the Latreon, he's probably going to make all the weapons you have right now obsolete anyways, right? So you've got weapons you're working on right now. Oh, I got to get this. I got to get that. Whatever the weapons the Latreon has, there's a very good chance they make your current weapons obsolete. There's a very good chance. Not 100% of them, but a lot of them. You know what I mean? So I need something to do in the game. Wadana says, Iceborne can be appreciated if modding and cheating never existed. The collective player base progressed normally. I mean, this is my main character, and it's a totally legit character. You know, I didn't cheat on him at all. Again, there's just not much to do anymore. Modding isn't cheating? Have I heard of Hightail? No. Can you show your guild card? Does it let me show it right now? Here's my guild card. Dual blades is my least played. They're a fun weapon. They're powerful. Alright, let's head out. Hello, can you see what I say? Nope. Play Digimon. I have an interesting topic for you. Is it possible if I send you a message on Discord and you read it out loud? I mean, I could read it here. I don't know why you'd need to send it to me on Discord, unless it's like something really bad. David said, just saying Electron's gear is going to most likely be focused on elements, since that's how his gear was in older games. Also, his weapons weren't even meta from what I remember. Not even meta? I want the meta weapons. I was about to join you, but I'm too tired anyway. Have a great day. See you later, Mr. Clean. Need to pump up those numbers. You're funny. Can I grab onto him? Oh, or we can do that. Wow, you played more Lance than I expected. Yeah, I've actually put a lot of time in on Lance. So when I criticize it, it's not just from like a total lack of experience. I have some experience with the Lance. It's one of my most played weapons. I think it's kind of fallen down the list because I've been putting a lot of time into Hammer and Hunting Horn, of course, has always been high up the list. Grab onto this Gastodon. Max Kalina says, hey TGC, what happened to that Lance video? Yeah, I never posted it. I can post it if you guys really want me to. You guys want me to post it? Oh my god. 2, 3. Oh my god. It's Jason Bourne. 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh my god. Thanks for all the donations, by the way, guys. That's very generous. I'm very grateful. Dawnless getting a shit ton of updates lately. Each Elder Dragon should get a variant like Ruiner and Black Vow. I want something new, you know. I've played a lot of Minecraft. I've played a lot of Dark Souls, actually, as well. I need something, like, new. Smack you in your head. Smack you in your head. Don't you just love this ledge? He's still getting away? Wow. Get both platinum trophies. You see, I don't really care too much about like trophies and achievements. I never have. I run out of stamina. Try the Mass Effect trilogy. Funny enough, I used to play Mass Effect multiplayer quite a lot. So that was what I got started on, actually. I really like your guide videos and armor videos. That was like the whole reason I subscribed to you. I'd love them to come back. Guide videos and armor reviews. Man, we haven't done an armor review in a while. We haven't done like a proper armor review, you know what I mean? Play Minesweeper. Can you buy me the Kiara Ice? That's right, I can. That's exactly what I can do. You won't play Neo 2 because it's an exclusive, but I feel like you would really enjoy it. I also don't like the fact that it's kind of like a Dark Souls ripoff. That's the other thing I don't like about it, actually. I'll just start on my RuneScape account. Hello. Time to play old school RuneScape. Come on, guys. Will you play a new Monster Hunter game if it releases? Will I play a new Monster Hunter game if... Oh, of course. Yeah, I'm very excited for a new Monster Hunter game. How early can you get Zora Magdaros armor? You need to have access to the Guiding Lands, so you have to be done with the story. Old school RuneScape stream when? Play Doom. You know, I really enjoyed Doom. I feel like I got everything I needed out of it. I don't really feel like I wanted to replay it. I return to your older videos for fun sometimes, and they're still really good. You should make an Iceborne guide for weapons and armor for newer players, for example. I see. I see what you're saying. What's your favorite monster in terms of design? Teostra. Would you take $1 million for free? Nope, you would have to have sex with me to give me the $1 million. Max says, not a DS ripoff, much more like Diablo and Neo, in my opinion, has much better combat. Play Skyrim in Legendary mode. Oh my god, it's Jason Bourne! I feel like they should make it easier to get decorations like Mighty Bow or some other way minus Lavasia. Well, I suppose. I'll just open up Pokemon cards all the time. What if I turned on the my laptop camera so you guys could see me, and then I opened up a booster pack right now in the middle of the live stream? Can you hear it? It's a booster pack. I got these Neo Destiny, not Destinies, Neo Discoveries sitting right next to me. They're on the couch arm. I will blow up the house so there will be no floor or ceiling game. Hi there, new question. I'm already Master Rank 99, Guiding Lands level 2, but I haven't got the Ruiner Gigante set. What should I do to trigger the quest? Well, you won't be able to... Oh, that's a good question. He says he's already Master Rank 99. Oh, I don't know, man. I would keep leveling up the Guiding Lands if it's not working, and make sure you've talked to everyone, okay? Yeah, make sure you've talked to everyone. A visitor from E. Orza. Let's get it done, Stellar. Have you tried Sekiro? I've played Sekiro. It was fun. Yeah, I liked it. I hope I won't be disappointed. Since when did GC start doing ASMR opening Poke Packs? I've been doing it for like 10 months on my other YouTube channel. Yeah, we've been opening up thousands of dollars of Poke Packs. Alright, there we go, soft soil. Run over here, let's go ahead and have a meal. I was debating between Okra and extra blast procs, but some extra damage from it being a freaking raging Bracky weapon. You ever tried a guild card collection and review? No, I've never done that. You need to kill an Elder Dragon to unlock Ruiner Nergigante Master Rank 99. There you go. That might be the tip. That might be what you're missing. How's it going, Pokemon Death montages? How is Raging Bracky Lance? Terrible, like all lances are. Play Animal Crossing, we'll visit your island. My wife does have Animal Crossing, but I'm just not that into it. It feels kind of like a children's game.
No turning back.
Run down here. Come on, Behemoth. I've thought about playing Advanced Wars. Have you guys ever heard of that game? It's an old game. It's an old strategy game. Have I ever played Cuphead? I have not. I'd like a game like Destiny. Yeah, I wish there were more games like Destiny, actually. I stopped playing Destiny a long time ago because I was really disappointed with the quality of it. Advance Wars and Fire Emblem were my favorite games on Game Boy Advance. You know, I never really played through Fire Emblem. I wonder if I'd enjoy that if I played through that. Play Warframe. I hear Warframe is really grindy because it's a free-to-play. Nice job. Play Borderlands. Borderlands is tempting, I guess. I don't know. I didn't hear much about Borderlands after it came out. Play Pokemon Snap. Here, I tell you what. Let's go to GameFAQs real fast. Let's find out what games are most active. I'm gonna go to the PlayStation 4 board. Final Fantasy Remake, The Last of Us Part 2, Streets of Rage. Monster Hunter World is number 4. It's actually still very active. Persona 5 Royale, Trials of Mana, Neo 2, Resident Evil 3, Mortal Kombat, and Call of Duty Modern Warfare. Crazy. Wow, there must not be a lot of good games out there right now. People must be really into Monster Hunter then. Just getting that much conversation. Oops, he's roaring at me. Whatever happened to slice ammo? Yeah, I don't know, man. Sticky ammo became super OP, and they left slice ammo nerfed. What the hell? Oh, and he got me. Alright, so that's where it's going to be then. Bruh! Oh, he's mounted? I can't tell. No, he's not mounted. Too far away from the boulder. I'm too dumb to care about that stuff. I'm sure I'll enjoy the hell out of the game either way. Super looking forward to it. What? Oh, B52 says Monster Hunter World is free for PS users? Really? Whoa. Did not know that. Oh. Play some Connect 4. Oh, that's an interesting idea. We could do like a board game. I can't believe that he's not, he's gonna stand up and he's gonna drop that meteor. Yeah, ecliptic meteor. Let's get over here. No camp? He doesn't have a camp. That's fine. What are your thoughts on people getting a second stim check? Oh my god. You gonna get me talking about monetary policy? Because I always got a lot to say about that kind of stuff. I mean, basically there should be inflation. You know what I mean? The government is... You know what? We're going to try and topple this guy as soon as possible. Because he tends to knock you into the lava. No, don't do it. Here it goes. Get him, boys! Get my teammates like a few more seconds to attack him. Oh, God, man. Wow. Actually, I got thrown off. I suck. I was really just trying to delay. I gained the enmity? I don't understand how that worked. Bruh. That's gonna hurt. Alright, let's run up here. I'm getting hit by everything right now. We lost somebody. Who'd we lose? Oh my god, he wasn't even going for me. He was going for Stellar. That was convenient. Bruh! Play Shadow Legends. Oh my. But actually, you know, maybe it would be interesting to get a setup so that I could actually stream like Apple games or something from the game store there. Cell phone games. I could do Plants vs. Zombies. Have you heard of NordVPN? What are your thoughts on holding booster boxes over opening? I'm curious, what are your thoughts on why well with modern and vintage? So, Medlax is asking me a Pokemon card investment question. I think that holding sealed product is one of the safest investments there is. Because, especially if you have a sealed product of a set that's very popular, like, for example, Hidden Fates. If you just sit on it for a long time, I promise you it will double in price eventually, maybe less than a year. I've seen it already. Hidden Fates especially is basically already doubled in price. Yeah, it's actually really crazy when you think about it. Because here you have all these people buying alternative assets with like gold and everything. And then you have Pokemon cards just immediately. You've seen it yourself, have you? If you've been into the cards long enough. Hidden Fates came out and the booster packs would have been on average like $5 each maybe. Maybe less than that actually. Let's see, how much were the booster boxes? Retail, the booster boxes were $40. The Elite Trainer boxes, right? They were $40. And you get, by the way, a promo card which has its own value, right? Because you can grade those promo cards. So anyways, the Elite Trainer boxes were $40. Nice. And that means it was about $4 per booster pack. And then, oh man. Now they're really expensive. They're about $10 per booster pack in a lot of cases. Not a lot, not all cases, but many cases you get them for like $10 per booster pack. They're real expensive. So when you think about that for like, if you think about that for a while, it's like they've outperformed gold and silver. It's like, what? And nobody's like looking at that. You know, it's kind of like this information that only nerds would be into. So you got all these old guys who collect gold and they study the stock market and they bet against the, you know, they bet on the bust basically. They're waiting for the bubble to pop. They're waiting for the market to collapse. That's what guys who collect gold do. They're all waiting on that and inflation, and turns out they're right, right, with everything that's going on in the economy. They're all like, oh yeah, old people won't be able to afford healthcare. Old people, we won't be able to afford their pension plans. Old people, you know, they're doing all this terrible stuff to the economy, and it's going to, you know, the companies are all greedy and everything's going to blow up, and then the price of gold's going to skyrocket, right? So they're right about all that stuff, and yet here you have like Pokemon cards actually outperforming the gold market, and I feel like that's because it's really simple. Nobody's into it except for nerds. It's like this market that nerds can get into, and guys who collect gold, you know, they're nerdy on gold, but they don't know anything about the value of Pokemon cards. Get over here, Stellar. Oh, Stellar. That sucks. They don't know anything about Pokemon cards, these guys. So, oh shoot. And of course, part of it, you know, if the market sells out of the cards too quickly, what's supposed to happen is Nintendo's supposed to print more of them, which is exactly what happens. Nintendo's going, oh, you think you're going to buy out the market and sit on them? Well, then we're just going to print a bunch more, so you know. But the question then is, how much will Nintendo do that, and for how long? And even if Nintendo does that, I think that It's just a matter of time, no matter what. People love vintage things. That is what I've learned about the cards. People love vintage collectibles, especially when it comes to like a beloved video game like Pokemon. So, yeah, if you were to ask me, hey, what's safe to invest in? The sealed product will have a very, very safe investment. Oh man, that sucks. The negative thing I have to say about it though is I also believe that some of the PSA 10 graded vintage cards will appreciate more than the booster boxes will. Because the reason that the booster boxes have value is because there's a card inside of that box. Do you see? So the reason the boxes have value isn't just because of collectors, is because people expect to pull something out of that box that's valuable. In other words, if... Oh no. Yeah, okay. In other words, you know, if you were just... Oh, you gonna make it, Terror Boy? Darn. Hey, but he's dead. We made it. We're good. Actually, we could have both died. Whew. Nice job, guys. Have you heard of Pickle Rick? Funniest shit I've ever seen. Pokemon might outperform Gold in the short term, but definitely not the long term, says Josh May. You know, the funny thing is, Josh, it doesn't have to outperform Gold in the long term. If you were to buy, let's say, $1 million of Pokemon cards right now, $1 million of the cards, and then in like 2 years they doubled in price, which what I've been observing is not at all hard to imagine, because once the boxes go out of print, they like double in price. They go from X amount of money to twice that. You know, if a booster pack goes from $4 to $8, nobody blinks an eye because it's like, whatever, it's $8 per booster pack. I can afford that. So you see these booster boxes double in price very quickly. You do that with $1 million spread around all the different Pokemon sets, and then take your cash and go buy Gold. So it's like, well, there you go. You've moved into a more reliable, more traditional asset. Anyways, I'll be right back. I'm gonna go to the bathroom. I'm gonna go take a leak. There we go. Be right back. All right, and I'm back. Sweet. And I'm back. Jump over here. Slay Teostra. We're gonna slay Teostra. Why am I yawning? It's only 12 a.m. It's not even late. I'll tell you why I'm yawning. I have no energy drinks. grab this real fast. Zachary, I read the message. Basically, it was your cousin, I think. Your cousin just likes to put mixed sets together to optimize for damage, and you enjoy just looking nice in the game. My thoughts are that you can do whatever you want. There's no right or wrong way to play the game as long as you're having fun, obviously. Your cousin's got to be like, no, you have to do as much damage as possible. And I actually appreciate that a lot because most people, what they're looking for in the game is to deal more damage. But it's just kind of like, if you play the game for a super long time, you will realize damage is not that big a deal. So as long as you win. My dog got ran over. Will flex tapes fix him? I could buy Final Fantasy VII Remake, though. That game seemed interesting. Final Fantasy VII Remake? Let's go ahead and grab this. Come on. Whee! What? Is he already going down to the... I think he's already going down to die. What the heck? Hey, mister, have you heard about Monster Hunter Stories? It's a cool Monster Hunter Pokemon-ish game. I think my wife played like the demo for Stories a long time ago. Boop. How did that still reach me? His body clearly was not touching me. Quick, beat him up! Do you think it's viable to make a solid hammer healer build? Oh yeah, hammer's great for healing, because the hammer doesn't really require any special skills. Kind of like the longsword. Yeah, the hammer and the longsword, they're weapons that don't really require any additional skills, and they sheath fairly fast enough to be effective, I'd say. With Japanese players, hey mister, can you tell me what to do after slaying Behemoth? I can't get to Mantle still. What to do after slaying Behemoth? Keep playing? I don't really know what you're asking. The Guild Palace Hammer should be allowed to sever tails. The Guild Palace weapons were really... They were snuck into the game so sneakily. They were just like a simple event quest. They're one of the best looking set of weapons in the entire game. It makes no sense. Solo Ancient Lesson. I actually already soloed Ancient Lesson. Yes, sir. He's been soloed. He has been soloed. Try staying up all night with no energy drink. It's impossible. TCC, how do I become rich? Cheese, let me tell you a thing about getting rich, okay? Cheese, I think there's a lot of, quote, education out there, but there's not a lot of education on how to get rich. And the reason for that is because if you actually knew how to get rich, you would be competing with all the people in the world who are rich. So getting rich is mostly about owning assets And when you go out into the world and you try to buy assets, you drive the price of the assets up, which makes it harder for the people who are good at buying assets to buy them. So they don't like to tell you. So the trick to getting rich is to is a big topic actually. It's a really large topic. So I would say starting out early in life, the first thing you need is some sort of skill that society needs so that you have some sort of base income. Like for example, I host a YouTube channel. My wife is a software engineer. So you will want to have some base skill. You want to make sure that that skill is one that not everyone knows extremely well so that you get paid well for what you're doing, okay? So right off the bat, you want to find some kind of work, but you want to move into owning a business, or you want to climb a corporate ladder so that your income is much higher than if you were simply somebody else's employee. Because if you stay an employee your whole life, you never get rich. And then you want to take your dollar bills, because you get paid in dollars, and you don't want to keep them as dollar bills, because why would you want to hold on to something that somebody can print, right? So dollar bills can be printed. So why would you want dollars when the government can push a button and print more of them? So what you really want are assets like stocks, bonds, gold and silver. Homes are considered assets if you are, if you have good cash flow on them. In other words, if you have good renters. Land is one, right? So real estate, land. I'm investing in cards myself. I think that cards are this heavily overlooked card collecting hobby that is really still in its infancy. So I'm getting into cards, and I hope to become basically a millionaire off of cards. I know that sounds weird or crazy, but it's true. I hope to become real wealthy off of cards. But so yeah, anyways, you need a base skill. You need to go solve some problem for society. That's what actually generates money. You know what does not generate money? Printing money. When you print money, all you do is steal from everyone else who has money. That's what happens. So when there's $100 and the government prints another $100, they didn't create $100 worth of value, because they didn't create a product, they didn't create a service. They literally just increased the amount of money available, which decreases the purchasing power of your dollar, because now there's two of them. There's double of everything. So the cost of goods go up, and then suddenly you're like, oh, I don't get paid enough. And then you complain, you say, Bernie Sanders needs to buy all my stuff for me. UBI, right? But what's really going on is the government just infinitely prints money. So the government prints money, and then it loans it out to huge-ass corporations, these massive corporations. Loans all this money out to corporations at like 0% interest. So they don't even pay interest on the loan. So the government's printing all this money and borrowing all this money and giving out 0% interest rate loans to the corporations. And you're sitting there with money in your bank account, money in your wallet, and it is literally drying up every day, every year. The cost of college is going up. The cost of healthcare is going up. Why is it so expensive? There's multiple factors to it, but one of the factors, and one that we're going to be hearing a lot more about recently because of all the money printing, is your purchasing power goes down when the government prints money. Your purchasing power goes down because the price of goods go up. Oh man, I can't afford college. Oh, well, have you checked inflation over all these years? But also, I think a big part of why like college went up in cost is also because everyone was told they need to have it. That's not true. My job right now that I do requires zero college education. Zero. I did not need my degree for this. It's crazy to think about. I paid $55,000 to learn a valuable skill, computer science, but I didn't need it. I became a YouTuber. So everyone goes to school. The demand for school drives up the cost. This other thing is driving up the cost with school too. The fact that everyone can get a government loan means that the schools know they can jack their price up because there's a lot of money available. That's what happens, by the way. So like the price of a product is decided by the amount of money available. Like what is everyone's income? Well, since the schools know everyone's getting a huge ass government loan, they're like, all right, well, now school costs more. So everyone's going with the student loan. The schools know there's a bunch of money because of the student loan, and they just sell you garbage. So anyways, you're asking me, how do you get rich? I would say you need to get out of your debts that are liabilities. There are good debts and there are bad debts. A liability would be A liability debt would be like a debt that just loses you money. Let me give you a great example of car debt. A car is a liability. You buy a car and then it just loses you money the whole time. So you don't want to spend very much on a car, and you don't want a big debt on a car. If you can buy it in cash, that would be much better. So you do not want any kind of debt on a car. My car is paid off, by the way. We bought a very cheap car. It drives from point A to point B. It has air conditioning. So you don't want a debt on a car. You don't want a big debt on your home either. So wherever you're living, oh my God, look at that. Wherever you're living, you don't want to be in a large debt for a large home. This is a big mistake that many Americans make. We live in a country where everyone's just kind of brainwashed into going into debt. Like, when did that become normal? You ever think about that? When did it become normal to just go into massive amounts of debt? Like, here's this mortgage. A mortgage is a made-up idea. Somebody sat down and they're like, what if we created this debt called a mortgage, and it lasts for 30 years, and it pays the banks out crazy amounts of profit? That was a made-up new idea. If it was illegal to have a mortgage, what would happen is, A, the price of homes would come down because everyone who can't afford a home wouldn't have a home. That's what would happen. The price would immediately fall on homes. And then B, over the course of your lifetime, you will actually save a bunch of money because you won't be giving it to the bank in the form of a 30-year loan. Now, of course, this also means that you're going to probably be stuck living with mom and dad longer, like they do in other countries where they have multi-generational families sharing one home. So people don't like that idea either. But, what do you think about being wealthy? Maybe you should be wealthy, right? Rather than friggin' poor and making the bank super wealthy. But it's like all this stuff these are all things you can learn, but people don't learn this stuff. They just get mad that some people are rich and some people are poor, and then they go, Bernie Sanders, please just tax everyone. But it's like the government's not good with money. If the government was so good at money, why would the government be in so much debt? The government's probably about as bad with money as you are, maybe worse. They're not responsible if the government goes into a whole bunch of debt. Here's what they say. They just say it's the other team's fault. Oh man, the Republicans put us in all this debt. Oh man, the Democrats put us in all this debt. So, anyways, Josh says, it became normal over the past 50 years since corporations and mass media brainwashed generations of people into accepting a new normal. Yeah, exactly. So you were told, oh my God, you have to pull out. I was told this, and I'm in debt now. You were told you have to go into an enormous amount of debt to go to school, to learn Shakespeare, and maybe some useful stuff too, right? So I do love education, and I think everyone should be educated, but you just go into debt for all that stuff, and then you have your house mortgage and your car loan, and between all three of those, and other bills like food and maybe luxuries that you buy yourself, like an energy drink, you just kind of go broke. You spend all your money on consumer goods rather than investments, and then 20 years pass by and you're already getting old. You're like, why am I so poor? So, yeah, all that stuff's important to think about. Dark Pony says, homes are a little different. Material cost and cost of labor will keep the cost of homes higher than what most people can afford without loans. No, actually, the cost of homes in the past was really low. The cost of homes has gone up enormously because people buy them for investment, to rent out to people, and because we don't build more homes than we need. Santiago says, what would happen is, since it's less profitable to build and sell houses, less houses will be made, so the housing prices will be even higher. That's exactly what I just said in the last sentence. I said we don't build more houses than are needed because we're trying to keep the houses an appreciating asset. We do that on purpose. Move this over here. Uh-oh. We get it. Life sucks. Well, Cheese was asking me how to get rich, and I was trying to give some serious advice, actually. Yeah, so picking up some kind of job skill. When it comes to picking up a job skill, I would say you definitely want to do something that you're naturally talented at, that the market is demanding, and that you think you can become the best at. You know what I mean? You don't want to just do You definitely don't want to spend your whole life doing menial labor, because that will almost certainly be replaced by robots. Over time, that'll be replaced by robots. So your job is not if you got a job that's strictly menial labor, you need to start figuring out how to move into a more complicated, oh my god, a more complicated job. Not that you can't succeed on a small wage, it's just it's easier to succeed on a large wage. Live in a tree. Horribad Gamer says the education system is outdated. Oh, that's gonna hurt. Let me itch my eye. Still the same basic structure since the Renaissance should be you learn what's related to your career choice. Well, yeah, and they don't even teach you, I feel like they don't teach you much about money. And I don't know why it's like that. I feel like they don't teach you much about money. I've heard like theories on the internet why they don't teach you more about money. And I've heard one of the reasons is because teachers are actually paid based on taxation, right? So teachers are paid by the government. And if you think about it, college professors are kind of paid that way too, because most students go to school on the student loan, and the student loan is a government loan. So I've heard that teachers all support taxation. They don't want to help you avoid paying taxes because their livelihood actually comes from taxation. So why would they teach you to avoid it? So they don't teach you how to be an expert with taxes. They don't teach you how to be, an expert with understanding the monetary system. In my opinion, they don't teach you those things. They probably don't want you to know it. No Man Player says, where did you learn all this? Reading books, watching educational videos on YouTube. Lots, all the time actually, almost every single day. Almost every single day actually. Yeah, I would say probably every day actually. Most of my YouTube history is just like financial videos. Josh says billionaires don't want us poor people to be financially literate. There's a little bit of truth to it. I mean, yeah, there's quite a lot of truth to that. Con says, so I'm hunting Tio with the bow along with 2 charge blade. Now there's this hammer player named D who comes out of nowhere and blows up 2 without placing bombs. Frick you, GE. GE. If school teaches about money, then who's going to work 9 to 5? I know, right? Well, and I feel like that's kind of how the world works. We got rid of slavery, but I feel like you basically still have a sort of slave. It's just a different looking slave now. You take your factories and you send them out to India and China because you know that they get paid garbage out there, and they sit in a dirty little factory with no unions, with no rights. Right? They live in communist China, and we make that government wealthy, using their people basically like slaves a little bit. You know what I mean? It's not exactly like that, but it's kind of like that. It's kind of like that. When you have like a large monopolistic company and it's the only company you have available to work for, and let's say you live in communist China and the government's like, no, you're going to work for this company because we need this, we need this to go through. We need to do the manufacturing for America so that America pays us money. It's like all of history. When you go back through time, there's all these amazing structures, and it's always built by rich, powerful people who have found a way to control the people beneath them in the lower classes. It's always that, and I feel like it still kind of is that way. Like buying consumer goods. Cheese asked, how do you become wealthy? One of the first things you can start... Oh, hold on, give me a moment. One of the first things you can start by doing is not buying consumer goods. So when you think about it, let's say I always use Nike tennis shoes as an example because Nike's so overpriced. Nike actually, they didn't really make the shoe, did they? They shipped it off to some factory in some poor country, and the shoe was made for like, I don't know, like $5, maybe less. So the shoe gets made for $5, and you then buy it for Nike, who marked it up to like $200. It makes no sense. Why don't you just buy it straight from the producer? Because you're not educated enough to do that. You don't know how to do it. And that's how most money is made now. All these products that you can buy, they're not made in America. They're made in another country for dirt cheap. And then they're just imported over here and sold to you at a ridiculous markup. If you were as smart as the business owners, of like Nike and all these other companies, you would actually just go buy it from over there and buy it at the cheap cost. And it's a little more complicated because you want the Nike brand, right? You want the little Nike logo on it. Yeah, I get that. Oh man, I own Nikes. But that's just another thing. It's like the more name brands you own, the more you pay for the name brand. And in the end, it's just a name a lot of the time. What are some good sources? Oh, hold on. What are some good sources you use to learn yourself? YouTube, books, podcasts. Just start looking up financial videos on YouTube, and YouTube will make lots of recommendations. You'll find it. I promise. Cheese says, I'll just win the lottery. Simple. Yeah, but see, the lottery is never going to make you rich, right? We all know that. But yeah, you buy these companies have your product made by what's essentially like a slave in another country, and the product itself only costs like $5. But then the company tells you to pay like $200 for the same product. And you just do. You just do buy it. You know, like how does Apple record record profits? How does that actually occur? It occurs because you don't know what Apple does to get those cheap products. They have their, they have like their factories of slave manufacturer workers in China and other countries, and they work for nothing. And then you don't even barter with Apple to get a better deal, a better cost on the phone. You just go out and just buy it right away. You know what I mean? Nobody says, not China, nobody goes, Apple, I know you didn't pay anything to get this manufactured. Everyone's just like, no, I'm going to buy Apple. It's basically how it works. And, I get it. It's a little more complicated than that for Apple. It's not like they didn't design it here in America. So that's the service part. They designed it here with engineers here. But the manufacturing's so cheap. This is why their profit margin is so large. The workers aren't paid what they're really worth, and you aren't paying the real cost of the phone. You're paying what Apple asks you to pay, which is much higher than the actual production cost of the phone. And so I do really believe in like the free market and all that stuff. I don't think those things need to be, what's the word? They don't need to be regulated quite so much, but what you need is an educated population that goes, why don't I just buy China's phone? China has a phone that mimics the Apple. I should just buy that for like $10. I don't even know how much it costs over there. It probably costs like $20. They probably have like a China phone, and it's probably like a quarter of what it costs from Apple. But nobody buys that. Everybody buys the Apple phone because of the brand, and that's it. And then Apple's the most profitable company ever, right? Yeah, not paying taxes. Mosca makes a point, not paying taxes. Well, school doesn't teach you how to evade taxes. It really doesn't. Unless you go to school to be like a taxes lawyer, probably. That probably really does teach you how to evade taxes. But when you go to high school, they don't teach you that the government prints money to give corporations 0% interest loans and stimulus, huge stimulus bailouts. They don't teach you that the government prints all this money to do that while paying for all of the debt with your tax money. Who do you think pays the debt? It's you guys. You pay for it two ways. The first way you pay for the debt, the government literally takes your money and puts that toward the debt. The second way you pay for the debt is there's a huge outstanding debt that the United States has from all the borrowing and printing that it did. And now the government owes all this money to the people who bought the debt, which is usually other countries. So instead of spending billions of dollars on its own people, it sends billions of dollars of interest out to other countries. People are so bad with money, it's shocking. And I think that it fuels a sort of disloyalty to America, to tell you the truth. Because if you have really educated and intelligent people looking and seeing what's happening, seeing what our population is doing, voting for, oh man, we're so wealthy, let's just eat the rich. When you see that on one hand, and then you see the government putting us into trillions of dollars of debt and bailing out corporations that should fail using American taxpayer dollars and printing all this money. When you see that, it's almost like, man, there's no way we're getting out of this in a good situation. Tasty Tacos, take my money, TGC. Thank you so much, Tasty Tacos. I really appreciate that, man. That's a really generous donation. Holy heck. Well, maybe you guys are finding this commentary interesting because it's so important to understand all this, because if you don't understand these things, you're just going to be swept up in it. You're going to be like the government's going to like sponge off of you. Okay? So you walk around and you're like, I'm in the middle class, or maybe you're in the lower middle class, or maybe you're in the upper middle class, but the government really just sponges off of you like crazy. And you're, in a way, you're kind of like that that lower class I was talking about, that servitudinal class, where you just exist to make the wealthy tons of money so that they can build huge monuments. And that's what the wealthy do. They're builders, they're inventors, they're investors. They do real things. They get out there and they want to change the world. And so the government's like, yeah, you're getting the 0% interest loan. And everyone who's not like you is getting screwed. Basically, that's how it is. And it's really it's a frightening thing once you realize it. It really is. It's a frightening thing. You got the elderly. I think the elderly are really just vampiring off the young. If you think about how good the economy was for grandma and grandpa, between the years of like 1960 to now, the economy was so amazing in America because we didn't have a huge debt. We didn't have all the debt from war. We didn't have huge expensive healthcare. We didn't have enormously expensive education. You could buy a home for a fairly reasonable price, and then when you have a nice home, you want to have kids. So that's one of the things I talk about a lot, is you should go have kids, because if you're not having a family, that's probably the most important thing in life, and you're missing out on it. You got like feminists telling you not to have kids and all this stuff, you know. So anyways, I feel like the elderly basically vampire off the young because they left the economy with tons of debt. You're stuck with the government that only spends, never balances the budget, and all the elderly are going, hey, you're going to have to pay for all our shit now. We're old and we can't afford our health care, even though we had all this time to save up for our health care and become wealthy. And you do have wealthy old people, by the way. Usually when you're talking about wealthy people, you're talking about old people. And we hate them, right? So it's like, if you're young, you just hate wealthy old people. No, they're the ones that don't need you to pay for their health care. They're nice. You would hope that all old people are wealthy and leaving an inheritance to their children. But the problem is that there's so many poor old people, and everyone talks about the greed of the wealthy, but nobody talks about the greed of the poor, who are just like, yeah, just put let's just go trillions of dollars into debt. Screw the next generation. I got to have my health care now or I'm going to die. Because I got to have, whatever it is, cancer care or something like that. But yeah, so basically they partied their whole life. Many of them did. Not all of them, but many of them did. They partied their whole life. They didn't save up. They weren't smart with their money. And now they want you to pay for the money. You're young. You should be moving into a nice little middle class income home and having some children, with the wife. But the homes are so insanely expensive now. And you're in tons of school debt. And maybe you got one of the dumb degrees, like, who knows, like a 4-year in psychology. Maybe you're just saddled with this horrible student debt for a useless degree. You're not even going to use it. And the government's over here just printing out all this money. Here you go, huge corporations, 0% interest. Who cares? You can take all the risk you want, corporations, because if you screw up, we'll bail you out. You know what I mean? So the price of goods, the purchasing power of the dollar is going down, the price of goods are going up, the old people are squeezing you. It's crazy, man. It's really crazy. All the stuff together. See you later, Victor. The IRS has joined the chat. William says, I knew Grandma was a leech. Four years gender studies. Oven-proof tax says, nowadays I'd say it's harder to get a wife, but I don't know. No, it definitely is. And in my opinion, it's a side effect of feminism. And it's one of the reasons why I think that feminism is such a terrible and dangerous ideology. And I think in the past it wasn't such a terrible thing, but it has become a terrible thing. Anyways, here, let me eat real fast. Chef's choice platter. Yeah, there was this conversation going on. I can't remember when. It was like, was it last week? Do you guys remember Donald Trump and who was it? Oh, it was Senator Mitch McConnell. So these are Republicans. For those of you who are from Europe, the Republicans are conservatives, and they were talking about how the blue states like California and New York that are in tremendous debt, they basically want a bailout from the federal government. So you've got the state level and you got the federal level. Well, the states want a federal bailout. So the states can go into their own debt, right? You've got the country's debt and then you've got the state's debt. So the states can go into debt by borrowing money, and then when they have too much debt, what they do is they go over to the government and say, all right, we need a bailout now. And Mitch McConnell was saying, why would we do that? Just let them declare bankruptcy. And where was I going with this? There was an interesting point to this. Hold on. See, now I'm in the game. Ooh, where was I going with this? This was kind of tying into some of the topics that I was talking about. Oh snap! He's drilling. The debt's Senator Mitch McConnell wants the blue states to simply declare bankruptcy, but the blue states basically they're claiming that is the federal government taking advantage of them or something like that. What is my point though? Oh man, I apologize, guys. I'm having a Joe Biden moment. I don't remember what my point is. I got distracted by the game. I was talking about it and then I started playing. The blue states are in debt, but they don't want to declare bankruptcy. They want the government to print money for them. And the Republicans were saying they didn't want to. I don't remember what I was going to tie that into. I was probably going to go somewhere along the lines of you can't just infinitely print money, because there does reach a point where the purchasing power of your money just drops so significantly that you're poor anyways and the money's not valuable anymore, and then you experience hyperinflation and you enter a level of instability, and investors start to pull their money out, which is a really bad deal. If investors decide that you're not trustworthy, they start to pull their money out, which is exactly what happens in a lot of poor countries, by the way. It's one of the reasons poor countries stay poor. So you've got all these countries where people still live in mud huts still, and it's like, what happened? Why don't you guys just enter the 21st century? And the reason why is because investors won't invest. And why won't investors invest? It's usually because they can't trust the government with money. They can't trust, they also can't trust the area to be safe, which is one of the other very serious issues. If there's a lot of violence in an area, investors pull out. They're like, nah, there's too much violence. We're out of here. And so, I don't know, it's a very interesting subject. The state's going bankrupt. Oh, I remember now. Okay, so just talking about it brought the thoughts back. So I was going to tie this back into the issue with the elderly, right? So we've got a bunch of old people, and the question is, why are the blue states going bankrupt? And the reason they're going bankrupt is because they made a bunch of promises to pay out pension plans. For those of you who don't know what a pension plan is, a pension plan is like a retirement plan that is promised to you by maybe like the state, or maybe it's a company. And what happens is, it turns out that pension plans are impossible to fund because the state and the companies borrow from the pension plan, and the pension plans are empty. The accounts for the pension plan are empty. So let me put it in your head. Basically, okay, let's say you're a teacher in Illinois. And everyone is, they're all in a union and striking because that's what the Democrats do. Which I'm not totally against unions either, by the way. But anyways, they're like, all right, we need to increase our pension plans. And so the state agrees, hey, vote for me, I'm going to increase your pension plan. That's what they say. When you retire, we're going to give you a really generous retirement. And then what happens is, they make all these promises to pay really, really nice retirements out to all these teachers and whatever, firemen, cops. But it turns out they don't have the money to pay that pension because the government, which was already in debt, has been borrowing from the pension plan anyways. They just take the money straight out of the pension plan to pay for their other problems, right? And now you've got all the old people are getting real old right now. We're in the middle of it. This is the age of the baby boomers dying off at this point. They're all turning 60 and 70 and 80, and they've got cancer, and they need their pension plans. And the governments can't afford the health care, and they can't afford to pay for the pension plans because the pension plans are empty now. And so this is the big squeeze, and what's going to happen is you and I are going to pay for it. Do you understand? So you and I will pay for it, especially since so many young people are uneducated. So many young people believe that Bernie Sanders is on their team. But it turns out young people are almost always healthy. This is not always true, but it is true like 90% of the time. Almost all of the serious health problems, most of them, most of the unaffordable health problems that would wreck you as a young person, they're stuff that the elderly have. It's not what young people have. Most young people are actually still healthy. That's just part of being young. So when Bernie Sanders talks about healthcare as a right, which is not a right, that's a made-up idea, by the way. Rights are a made-up idea. When you're born, you're not born with any rights, right? Like nature will eat you, all that kind of stuff, that's reality. Rights are just this thing that are... Bernie Sanders very much would like for you to think is a right because then you will vote for him. But, there's just nowhere in nature do rights exist. It's just a made-up idea. You have government privileges, and he's trying to convince you should have the privilege of healthcare. But it's not for you, is it? It's for the elderly. It really is. For the elderly, the government wants to put America into like trillions and trillions and trillions of dollars of debt to pay for one of the wealthiest groups in all of our history, which was the baby boomer group. They had the best opportunities, they had the best economy, assets were cheap back then, everything was cheaper, the government was in so much debt. They want you to pay for it all, and they brainwash you into thinking that it's for you. Young people are like, yeah, I hate capitalism. I'm so hipster and cool because I hate it. I hate capitalism. Even though America is the wealthiest country in the entire world, I hate it. I love socialism in Europe and all that other stuff. And even though Europe's poorer than China, Europe has less GDP than China. Think about that for a second. China has not been ahead of the game, like for most of time, right? China's been pretty far behind Europe for a long time. And now all of Europe is behind China in terms of GDP. Europe's basically fallen behind, and all the Democrats are like, yeah, I can't wait to not be America because I hate us. I often think that being Democrat, part of it is kind of like a self-hate. You know what I mean? I feel like it's kind of a self-hate. You don't like yourself, and you don't like your country. I think that's very often the case. Anyways, so they want Bernie Sanders, but they just don't understand that, man, it's like, who is really... Do a simple math problem in your head. Who is really going to benefit from socialized healthcare? Bunch of young healthy kids, or a bunch of 80-year-olds, bunch of 70-year-olds? It's the 70 and the 80-year-olds. And I've paid to help my mother-in-law with cancer, and I've had my own like dental issues. The dental issues are totally affordable. Cancer is not affordable. Cancer is extremely expensive, like bankruptingly expensive. So, and this is why all the old people need help with their healthcare, and is part of the reason why healthcare is so expensive, for those of you who didn't know this. So part of the reason healthcare is so expensive is because the elderly are living longer than they used to, and they need more expensive care, which is mostly we're talking about cancer treatments. So cancer treatments are insanely expensive because healthcare companies know they can basically charge whatever they want on it, and you will pay it because this is about living or dying. And it turns out all the money in the world doesn't matter if you're going to die. Oh, he fell over. I didn't expect that. So people would just pay anything to stay alive another day. You know what I mean? So they charge like crazy for the cancer treatment. And what healthcare companies do is they offset the heavy cost of the cancer treatment. They offset it by causing all the other things that was normally, it used to be cheap. They basically upcharge in all those other areas. So because of the high demand for cancer treatment and very expensive cancer treatment, everything else got more expensive. So this is a part of the reason why healthcare is so expensive right now. And basically, when all the baby boomers die off, which they will eventually, it'll take like a while, maybe a long while, we don't know. But when the baby boomers die off, you'll actually probably see the cost of healthcare fall. Run over here. Not that it'll matter. What the hell? I can't roll out of this? Not that it'll matter because your dollars won't be worth anything from all the debt we'll be in by then. But yeah, so yeah, the cost of healthcare is getting squeezed. You're getting squeezed. The government's printing money. It's so bad, man. It's really bad. Shahab Wolf says, I'm a dentist, come to Egypt for cheap treatment. Well, you're probably right. It probably would be cheaper in Egypt, but yeah, dental's pretty affordable. You know, if you finish school and you got a job, you can afford dental. But cancer treatment is like $30,000 for a test. Do you see? Do you see how expensive that is? $30,000 for a test, which is absolutely insane. Arson says, so you're saying young people have small brains? How do I make a big brain? Well, you just got to be educated, but you have to be correctly educated. I really believe that. I feel that most young people are educated very quickly by Hollywood. You're educated by like CNN, Hollywood. Your teachers, all of your teachers are paid on taxes. Teachers make money on taxes. They do not make money by creating a product necessarily. Maybe some of them are writers. When someone like Bernie Sanders tells you healthcare is a right, you have to have like enough, maybe the tenacity to kind of sit there and disagree with them and be like, what's a right? Have you ever sat down and asked yourself what a right is? Who gives you a right? I have a right. You have a right. Where does it come from? It's made up. It's not real. It's not real. You just believe it's real. And a guy with a gun can tell you have rights. He can point a gun at everyone else and say, this guy has rights. But that's not a real right. That's a privilege. It's the privilege of living with the guy with the gun, which is the government. So Bernie Sanders can give you the privilege of socialized healthcare, but it's not a human right. That's just made up language to brainwash you. And it's effective too. People love being told they have rights. It's great. You have a right. It's like, no, not really. Those are made up. Gussie says, just FYI, over 40% of 20-year-old Americans are obese. Right. So, and that's another issue, by the way. So in the land of the free, America, I'm going to say, if you're obese, you can live the way you want. You can eat whatever you want. But if you're going to be obese, you have to pay for it. Right? So it's just like that. You can eat what you want. I mean, I love good food. You love good food. The whole world does, really. But if you're going to have a lifestyle where you're vaping and you're overeating and you're drinking and all the bad things, right? If you're going to do all the bad things, you can't then go tell all the healthy people to pay for your shit. You got to pay for your own shit. You were the one who made many of these health choices. And by the way, in America, Bernie Sanders often doesn't talk about this. We have already a social healthcare system that helps people already. It's just that healthcare in America happens to be very expensive. So it's still a struggle. You can't really have a lot of health problems and be wealthy at the same time. Because what will happen is the socialized health system will say, we're not going to help you until you're poor. So you have to sell off all your crap and be poor and then you get help. See what I'm saying? Anyways, wow, we're fighting Teostra a lot. What the hell? The majority of the things that you're talking about are made up. Teachers definitely make a product, one that was collectively decided is important, and thus we pay for it with specific education taxes. Anime's better than Hollywood, says Horribad. Animu. Fat shaming triggered. No, I'm honestly, I'm not even fat shaming. All I'm saying is that if you're gonna eat a truckload of McDonald's and Cheetos, and you're gonna have soda every day, and you're gonna smoke and drink, you know that there's a health risk associated with those lifestyles. You can't then ask everyone else to subsidize your lifestyle. You have to make a choice to either be healthier or to spend your own money on your healthcare. And we can have a social welfare net, but you have to have a balanced budget and not print tons of money in order to rescue all these people who are making poor choices. And it always kind of comes down to this very simple problem. It always comes back to this problem. Do we let them die? That's it. That's what it always comes down to. Do we let them die if they... Maybe? What do you guys think? I find it tragic, but maybe. Can you save everyone if they're being self-destructive? Should you save everyone if they're being self-destructive? Maybe we could have more education on being healthy. That would be a good investment. But if somebody is addicted to destructive habits, the best you can do is try to stop them from having the habit. But do you just bail them out? All of society, millions of people. Do you just constantly bail out people who are struggling, or do you take the money and you, I don't know, invest it elsewhere? This concept that everyone's a good investment is a made-up idea too. That's like a communist idea. All men are created equal, blah blah blah. That is so fake. All the equality stuff is very close to the whole, like, you have a right, I have a right. It's very close to it. It's made-up language that makes you all warm and fuzzy. Some people are born taller than you and better looking. That's just how it is. Not all people are born equal. One guy's born looking like James Bond, and the other guy's born looking like, I don't know. I'm trying to think of someone goofy looking, but I can't think of anyone. And that's just how you're born. Like, what are you going to do about it? There's nothing you can do about it. But why tell people everyone's equal? It's just not true. Can you use Greatsword and show the build? Yep, we'll use some Greatsword. You get one girl who, you know, it's funny. Have you guys ever have any of you guys spent time on TikTok? You guys have. I love TikTok. It's hilarious. I love that the clips are so short. I love that you can actually find a lot of educational information on TikTok too. Lots of educational short videos out there. I found some investment ones. It's pretty interesting. Anyways, TikTok is so full of good-looking women, and I think to myself all the time, wow. There's so many ugly women out there. Why wouldn't they just born pretty? Life would be so much easier for them if they were just born pretty. Easy mode, right? Just be an attractive girl. Problem solved. But it just doesn't work that way, does it? Nature doesn't care about equality, and so nature has people be born ugly all the time. It just happens all the time. Smacking the head. And so one of the things you should get out of your head right away is the idea of equality. It just does not exist. There's no such thing as equality. It's why some people are paid more. It's why some people are taller, and why some people are smarter. You have to get that out of your head right away, because that's one of those fancy lies that you've been told at school. You get told by, you know, like politicians who say God bless America. They tell you that kind of crap, right? It's just made up crap. TikTok is owned by the Chinese government. Smack you in the head. Bone says that was the dumbest straw man. Man, that's a logical fallacy. Pretty girls get through everything. Everything. Well, yeah, they do. If you're an attractive looking woman, you get a free ride. You really do. You really do. If you're real attractive, you're just born with a symmetrical face, big eyes, the right kind of smile. You know, a good nose. That's why girls get nose jobs, right? Born with a good nose, supple breasts, curvy hips, right? All the good things, right? If you're born correct, life's going to be so easy for you. And then you could be another girl who's just born ugly. And then you're told, like, oh yeah, everyone's equal. It's like, what are you talking about? The design, nature almost without, without faulting, nature makes everyone unequal the moment you're born. Some people are born in a fancy first world country. Some people are born in a middle of nowhere mud hut in, like, I don't know, I guess Africa. That still exists. That's still a thing in Africa in 2020 somehow. That is still a thing, by the way. Can you even imagine that? It's 2020. How does this exist anywhere? It doesn't make sense to me. Anyways, so you're just born to the wrong family, born ugly, born stupid. Nobody talks about that one, by the way. Nobody talks about the idea that you can just be born dumb. Wow, why didn't I think of that? Be born smart. Be born handsome and intelligent. Problem solved. You know? But then they tell you all this crap about equality, and it's just like, what are you talking about? That never happens. We're all very different. And not different in the good way, different in the shitty way. I want to be Bill Gates' kid. You know? Imagine his quality of life. He has any healthcare problems, bam, taken care of. You know what I mean? And his dad doesn't need help with cancer payments or anything like that. Taken care of. So, well, anyways, all that equality stuff is always disappoints me when I hear it. For anyone who shames TikTok for being Chinese, these are the same people who don't even skim over terms. Anime girls are so hot. It's called natural selection. Stupidity has a relation to agency. Only the ones in disadvantage claims that everyone is equal. That is the least they can do to regain their birth advantage. Well, right, exactly. That's exactly what I talked about in one of these chats. I say when people say we need equality, that is coded language for I want your stuff. That is coded language for I want your stuff, give it to me. That's exactly what that is. When people say I need equality with you. And sometimes it's fair for them to ask for that, by the way. You know, like if they don't have equal opportunity, that's fair. But, you know, people get real creative with the concept of equal opportunity. They're like, well, equal opportunity means I'm going to have to be given a lot of advantages. Like the recent, what do they call it? On the SAT or ACT, they're like, they take a look at your, I can't remember. Somebody correct me on this issue. You've got the ACT, and now they look at your privilege or something like that on the ACT, and it's like, are you kidding me? The ACT is just there to check your intelligence. It's not, who cares if you're privileged? The only thing that matters is, are you intelligent or not? But they get real creative with this stuff because they're looking for every possible way to be given an advantage or to be given your stuff, you know? And when we talk about taking someone's stuff, often we're, whoa, what happened here? What the hell? My character was like, was I KO'd? That was weird. Said I couldn't move. Talking about taxation or something like that is very creepy, guys. It's very creepy. I hear it. The whole world has always been a competition to me. It always has. And I feel like the people who are the best at taking, they try to sound like, oh, this isn't taking. This is us making a better future together. Like, no, you motherfuckers, you taking. What are you talking about? It just doesn't work on me very well because I had so many siblings. And so there was, I had a ton of siblings, never enough money in my home. So we were all poor. And we were all kind of experts at lying to each other about intentions and motivation and stuff like, because you had to be in order to take things from each other. Right? Kids take things from each other. It's pretty normal. How do you trick a kid into giving you his stuff? You have to convince him that it's good for him. That's basically it. You just tell the kid, yeah, this is for you, man. This is for you and it's good. And that's how you do it. And that's how that's how it still works. I started earlier talking about this concept of slaves still exist. You've got a class of people who build all your monuments. You sponge off of them. You take all their money. They make you rich. They're the ones buying the iPhone and the sneakers, the Nike sneakers, right? They're the ones making you rich. How do you keep those people from making smarter choices in life? You just don't teach them how to think for themselves correctly. You don't teach them about money. And you smile really big at them and you say, hey, this is for us, for a brighter future, for equality for all, for human rights. You just smile at them and you lie to them with this fancy language. And it's like, who actually wins, though? It's like, when you look at it real carefully, it's like, so who's actually getting rich? Because very often it's just about money, and you could be like, who's actually getting rich here? Somebody's always getting rich. Matthew says, just killed Sharishvaldo. What's the next step? So you're ready to go into the Guiding Lands now. You're going to have so much fun. Guiding Lands time, man. You could just force the kids to give it to... Right. Well, that's why I'm saying, like, people say, hey, healthcare is a human right. What's really going on? Okay, I'll tell you. What's really going on is a huge transfer of wealth from the from the young to the elderly. That is what's really going on. You already get your your income check already gets taxed like crazy for Social Security that you'll probably never see because there won't be enough young people to support Social Security 40 years from now. Since Social Security essentially works like a Ponzi scheme, for those of you who didn't know that, I believe that Europe has something similar to Social Security. I don't know what they call it. But anyways, it only works if there's always more children than old people. So the moment there's more old people than children, the whole thing kind of crumples, and the government has to print a bunch of debt, which only the government can do. If you were a business, the business would fall apart, and they would be like, "Wow, this business was a sham." But since it's the government just prints more money, which is a form, again, it's a form of stealing. They're ruining the purchasing power of your dollar that you worked for. So, anyways, man, I could talk about this all day. I could, because it's such an interesting concept for me. How do you get rich? How do you get rich? Schools don't teach you how to get rich. Schools teach you, the mitochondriac is the powerhouse of the cell. That's what school teaches you. School does not teach you to be wealthy. School does not teach you to move into the upper class or into the elites. They don't teach you any of that stuff unless you're going after like a finance degree and a degree in economics and taxes. So, which, by the way, if you've been sitting around wondering, man, I don't know what degree to go for, I could probably strongly recommend a finance degree. Actually, there was some sort of study done recently, and they were talking about degrees that can make you like financially an elitist, basically, in the country, like the top 1%. You know what degree was the best at doing that? It wasn't a doctor degree, and it was not even a engineering degree, surprisingly. It was actually a finance degree. Finance degree for the win. Finance degree can actually make you very wealthy. Alright, I threw him into the wall. Anyways, they don't teach you how to be wealthy at school. They give you a bunch of coded language about it, all this freaking utopia shit, and oh, men and women are equal, you're equal, everyone's equal. Such stupid garbage. It's all garbage, guys. I promise you, it's all garbage. You gotta shake it out of your head. You gotta get rid of those ideas right away. Everyone's unequal. Everyone's unequal. And the more unequal you are to each other, the better chance you have of living in those upper classes. Shihab Wolf says, TCC, how does Mr. Beast get all this money? That's a great question. He probably had a wealthy donor, or he inherited money, one or the other. Or maybe he was an insanely successful businessman and we just didn't know about it. Unknown says, in my middle school, if you have like an honors class, they would up your SIT score by 1. What? Bill Smith says, schools tell you to go in debt for a degree. Well, yeah, that's because they are soaking up all that money off of you. They're saying, oh, you get the good government money? Come here. Come here. You need all these classes. You need creative writing. You need Shakespeare. You need English literature. You need literature history. You need philosophy. All this shit that you can read on the internet for free right now. All of it. Super free. There's teachers on the internet that teach this shit for fun because they love the subject. But you, come here. You need to come over here and you need to give me $4,000 per class for that. And you're going to be in debt to a bank for that. Was the government. I think there's a government. How does it actually work? I don't know exactly how it works, but you get these subsidized and unsubsidized debts, and then you pay an interest on this freaking debt for the rest of your life for this overpaid class. You sit there unable to buy a middle class home like your grandparents did, and have a wife like your grandfather did, and children like your grandfather did. You can't do that. You can't afford it because the houses are insanely expensive now, because we don't want them to. All the people who already own houses, which by the way, that's all the old people, they don't want the houses to ever depreciate in price. They only want the houses to appreciate in price. So they have to make them scarce. Same with investors, by the way. Investors buy up all the land and then they make you pay them money to rent it. So anyways, they don't want it to depreciate in price. So you can't afford a home because they're insanely expensive now. You got all these people, their population shift, and then you've got this stupid student loan. All these people sponging off you. And it's why you're poor. It's, why am I so poor? Because everyone's stealing from you, man. That's all it comes down to. Everyone wants your money, and the schools have failed you. Your high school failed to warn you about this. Your college isn't teaching you this either. You have to learn it from somebody who's figured it out. You have to learn it on YouTube. You have to read a book about it. Wait, can you substantiate that 40-year Social Security claim? Yeah, so Social Security, actually, I think I read somewhere that it's supposed to dry up in a certain number of years. Oops, did I just leave the quest? I did not mean to leave the quest. My controller got bumped. Oh, maybe they finished. Okay, so hold on. right here. So when you type in, when will Social Security run out? Google returns, the Social Security Trust Fund is projected to become insolvent in 2035, according to the program's trustees. 2035, insolvent. No money left. EK Lion says, hello, new viewer here. I have a question. Isn't rage quitting a muscle reflex? What? What is TGC? So if healthcare costs me $200 a week right now, costs me my employer $250 a week, and socialized healthcare will cost me $150, and my employer $150 a week, how is that bad? Well, Adam, all you've done is you've just given me a situation that you created, and you say you've just given me a situation where socialized healthcare is good. That's all you've done. So what if I was to just flip the question? What if I were to say socialized healthcare costs you $200 a week, and socialized healthcare, or that is healthcare. Let me rephrase it. Let's say socialized healthcare is costing you $200 a week, and healthcare that you have to pay for yourself is $150 a week. And then I would just ask you, how is that bad? So you haven't really, you see what I'm saying? You haven't really given me anything we can talk about. Well, it says, I put on my defensive great. Oh, right. Somebody wanted the greatsword. Hold on. Let me grab a greatsword build. We can talk about the cost of healthcare, though. The cost of healthcare in America is very high. I think probably healthcare is not as competitive as it needs to be. That's one of my suspicions. It needs to be more competitive. Oops. Let's jump over here. I'm going to grab a weapon augment. What weapon should I augment? Go ahead, neat. Wow, I haven't been paying attention to the game at all. I'm sorry for asking so much, but what do you think about a more gastronomical approach in a career? Let me look up gastronomical because I do not recognize that word. Related to the practice of cooking or eating food. I don't think you meant to use that word that way. Let me jump back. Yeah, I don't know what you meant, unknown. Should I go for Master in Economics or go for an MBA program? That's up to you, Johnny. Adam says, we can calculate the actual cost of socialized healthcare. Right, everyone has different figures, though. There's a lot of disagreement over it. So are we going to let poor people die or what? That's a great question, actually, Derwin. Are we going to let poor people die or what? I think that we already have social health care in America that helps poor people all the time. And it's a question of whether or not healthcare should make you poor. So what happens in a lot of cases is you go from being middle class to poor because you had to pay for your healthcare. This is different from you lying on the streets dying. You do not see a lot of that in the United States. In the United States, if you're at a point where you're going to die if you don't get the healthcare, you apply for Medicaid, Medicare, and there's all kinds of subsidized healthcare in America that can help you. And yeah, you probably do take on some debt too, by the way. But basically, you will not be wealthy. You will not be in the middle class anymore. You're going to be poor now because you had to pay for healthcare. And people don't like that. They're like, oh man, healthcare is too expensive. It's making me bankrupt. It's making me poor now. So this is the real conversation that's going on. Isn't about whether or not you can get healthcare. It's more along the lines of, can I get healthcare and be wealthy at the same time? And very often the answer is no. Very often the answer is healthcare is going to bankrupt you. And so we're trying to get cheaper healthcare. And some people believe that the government should run healthcare. That would be Bernie Sanders believes that the government should run healthcare. And he's out of the race now. So we're not going to have that. And then Joe Biden doesn't believe in that. He just believes in socialized healthcare where it's private companies, but the United States offers socialized insurance, I believe. And so this is slightly different because it's still competitive companies who are running the healthcare system. A lot of people don't like the idea of government-run healthcare because, well, I mean, like, think of the DMV. Would you like the same people who make the DMV to run your healthcare? I wouldn't. Personally, I wouldn't like that. Who knows, maybe they would do a better job. But also the post office, the USPS post office, is very often on the brink of a bankruptcy and just failing as a business. And would you like the same people who run that to run your healthcare? It's like, probably not. I'm not saying that they couldn't, in theory, do an excellent job and be the world's leading healthcare, but I like private industry. I think that when you have a marketplace, this actually does incentivize innovation and incentivizes competition. But the question is, if our healthcare is unfairly expensive, like for example, if our healthcare is price gouging us, how do we stop price gouging? And the answer might be to have more competition. And the question is, well, why would there be missing competition right now? Shouldn't there already be competition if it's such a valuable, let's say, commodity, if we were to call it a commodity? If it's so valuable with such high profit margins, why isn't there already lots of competition? And I would say maybe there's some like heavy government regulation making it so that it's hard to get into being a healthcare company, but I wouldn't know that. That's where my knowledge kind of drops off. I don't actually know what would cause the prices to be so high, other than the fact that there's a lot of old people asking for, like cancer treatment, and this is causing all healthcare to rise in cost as the healthcare companies begin to do all these expensive treatments and buy really expensive equipment. They have to somehow afford that. So what they do is they raise the price of everything in order to afford it. Oh man, I just grabbed Ridging. Do you rate the Charge Blade as one of the best, if not the best, weapons? Charge Blade is on the top half of my list. I think is a terrifically complicated compared to some of the other weapons, and I also think that it does great damage. So yeah, it's a great weapon. Just think it's a shield weapon, just like the lance, but actually does damage. If you could go back and slap young TCC in the face, how would you tell him to not be in debt or do something differently? Oh, easy. I just wouldn't go to school. So if I were to do something different in my life, it's interesting because I met my wife in school. So probably what I would have done is I would have gone to school for limited. Nobody really anticipates becoming like a YouTuber. Nobody does that. So probably what I would have done, if I could have anticipated being a YouTuber, I would have told myself to take a few classes on like Photoshop, maybe like Adobe products just in general, and that's about it. So I would have taken maybe like 1 semester of college education, and I would have met my wife, told her I'm going to be a YouTuber, and then I would have dropped out of school and saved, I don't know, like $40,000. Imagine having $40,000 of useless debt that just sits there and costs you money and doesn't earn you money. You know what I mean? It's really bad. Great question. But that would probably be the biggest one. I wouldn't go into debt for school because that would be the worst. That's the worst thing that's happened to me so far. I had Burger King since COVID came out. Help me. Oh, I haven't had Burger King since COVID came out. Just go get some Burger King, man. I had some Taco Bell the other day. Gasai says, you should define wealthy. I know we were talking about the USA, so what is wealthier to you, like yearly pay? In the United States, $40,000, I think, could be considered middle class, although probably 50,000 US dollars should be considered middle class these days. So 40 to 50 would be kind of poor, actually. And then if you want to talk about solidly in the middle class, probably like 70 to 80,000 a year. And then if you want to talk about living in the upper middle class, probably over $100,000 a year. But all that's going to change probably now that we're printing so much money because of the coronavirus. Did you know HIV medication costs $20,000 in the US, but less than $100 in Africa? Well, exactly, and part of the reason for that, Trenton, is the price of the care is based on what people can afford. So let's say you're a healthcare company and you have a drug that can help people all over the world with, like, let's say HIV. And you're trying to decide what to charge in each country. And when you look at America and you go, oh yeah, they can afford this, they have to. What'll happen is you'll price gouge them and say, even though it cost us very little to produce this, we're going to sell it to you for a lot of money. But then when they go over to Africa, they say, wow, so you really can't pay for this, but you know what, we still want to sell it to you. So we'll make much less profit over here, and we'll sell it for $100, but we're still going to sell it because it turns a little bit of profit. So, and this is exactly what I was talking about when I was talking about the fact that having both men and women working did not actually make uh, men and women wealthier together, you know, like couples. So what happens is, as the purchasing power of couples goes up, the price of everything just goes up to match it. Houses didn't get cheaper just because both mom and dad are working. It turns out the purchasing power of mom and dad fell. So it works just like that. So when they know there's more money in the market, they charge more. And when there's less money in the market, they charge less. So that's how it all works. I'm very open minded to like the healthcare stuff. By the way, I'm open minded to it. I'm open minded to socialized healthcare for the young, especially. I think that making sure young people can afford their healthcare is super important, right? So we do socialized healthcare, but honestly, I think it's mostly just for the elderly. But socialized healthcare for the young would make a lot of sense because most young people have the rest of their lives to pay taxes and earn that money back for their country. Elderly people are done working. They're done working. They've had their whole life to save. And now they just pretty much want to sponge off of young people and have young people pay for the healthcare. I find that all sorts of inappropriate. You should instead ask for your children to help you with your healthcare, not the government, not everyone else. You should ask your children for help and hope that you raised your children to love you and hope that you raised your children smart enough to help you pay for your healthcare. But there has to be a point where you're responsible for yourself, not society. And that's a question of like how big of a should government be Big Brother? That's one of those questions. And it's like, well, if you believe that the government should run everything in your life, you might be somebody who believes in having the government be Big Brother. But if you believe that you spend your money better than the government does, then and by the way, I think that this is normally the case that people spend their money better than the government does. But I don't know. I don't know. It's maybe I'm phrasing that wrong. I think there's a lot of people out there who spend their money better than the government does because of their own self-interest and they earned the money. But maybe there's a lot of people that really do just need like a mom and a dad to stand over them and be like, "Yeah, we're going to tax the shit out of you because later in life we're going to pay for your health care too." You know what I mean? So the government taxes the shit out of you, sits on your money for all these years, and then finally when you get cancer, they go, "Okay, you can get your cancer treatment now. We've been taxing you your whole life." You know what I mean? Gasai says, "What things do you think will rise in price due to COVID?" Everything. Literally everything will. Everything will go up in price. If the purchasing power of the dollar goes down because more of it's been printed, more of dollars have been printed without actually adding value to the economy, literally all things should go up in price. Food, uh, good, you know, all the commodities, all the goods, healthcare, education, it should all go up. All of it should go up for sure. Oh, god damn it. What do I think about universal health care? I like the idea of universal health care for young people. I hate it. I hate the idea of universal health care for old people. I think that the elderly should do a good job in their life with saving and investing, and then they should take their money and they should hand it down to their heirs. That is the way everyone gets wealthy. But what you find is some people had parents that did this, and most people had parents who squandered all of their money. Cat Cat three third car accident says, "Wait, they're just printing money because of Corona." Yeah, dude, they're printing a lot of money. Like it would. I don't know exactly how much technically they would have. Is my game freezing? I think my game is freezing. Dude, my game just froze. Well, that's a perfect time to wrap up then. I think I'm going to head over to my Pokemon card stream, which I host. This is my second YouTube channel. And what I will do is I'll go ahead and set that up. And then I'm going to come back over here to you guys and I'll leave a link to the other stream in the chat room. So if you want to keep gaming and hear me talk or talk with me, you can do that by joining the other live stream. Okay, I'll be right back. Okay, let me go grab the link to the other live stream. If you've never watched one of the card streams, they're pretty fun. They're pretty fun. We'll pull some like $100 cards out every now and then. Give me a moment, I gotta find it. Let's see if YouTube's even posted it yet. Come on, YouTubes. There it is. No, wait. That's my... Okay, here it is. Sweet. Alright, here we go. I'll post the link now. I can continue the conversation in the card stream if you want. Yeah, I don't mind. Just, you have to ask the right questions, and that'll allow me to talk about it. Alright, post it there. Let me go ahead and post it in the Discords as well. Let my card stream guys know that I'm going live. They love the card stream. And I'll post it in my main Discord as well. Alright, and we are ready. Alright, I want to thank you all for watching, and I'll see you guys next time.